Okay, so we're learning, we started last week to be the original Bosi L'gani, built on the Pasuk Shir Hashirim, Bosi L'gani, Achaisi Kala, come to my garden, my sister, my bride. And in a nutshell, what we said last time was that this is the expression the Frierdiker Rebbe sort of innovates, and brings down this notion that the whole purpose of Hashem's relationship to us and to all of creation is that this place down here, planet Earth, should be the place which exhibits the Or Ein Sof, the infinite light. Of course, over thousands of years, starting with Adam and Chava, that light was diminished, and then it started to be brought down, and he goes through 7 generations of tzaddikim until we get to Moshe, who was the 7th, and he brings Chazal, all 7s are dear, and that became Matan Torah, and that was wonderful. But then the process of concealment started over and over, because Matan Torah gives us I will call it the tools, the Torah, the mitzvahs, positive and negative mitzvahs, but it still is a world in which once the Beis HaMikdash comes onto the scene, it's revealed again, and then it goes away again. So he's after something much deeper than there's some light goes away, another period of light goes away. He's after for the Geula Shlema. And that's the notion that of the garden. That the garden which existed at the beginning, the Gan, which was in Eden, should be brought about again, but as a result of the continual service of ourselves, continuing to remove the darkness and build the power of releasing the light that's within the darkness, the Gan becomes even, and will become, God willing, in our days, an even brighter expression of the Or Ein Sof than it was then. And the expression of godliness being revealed in the world is Shechina b'tachtonim. The divine presence is in the lower world, meaning what we've said this, but it's worth always saying, God is always everywhere. But the revelation of godliness we call Shechina, and that revelation was in the lower worlds at particular times and is meant to be ultimately in this lower world in the end of days, or whatever you call them, the time of Geula. Now, Tuvia, you're looking at the text? Yes?
Today I'm not, because my eyes are tired.
Is anyone looking at the text? Because if not, I don't have to look. Yeah, who is? Seema, you are? Who is looking at the text? Nobody's saying. So can I assume that nobody's looking at the text, in which case I don't have to orient you?
I'm not, because I can't look at things right now.
I'm not either, Rabbi, because I'm using a phone.
Okay, and Seema is quiet, so I'm assuming you're not looking at the text either, unless you tell me differently.
No, I'm not looking at it.
Okay, good. Okay, good. So I'm still, for myself, sometimes I have to see it in Hebrew and then translate. So he says, and it's good to hear the words anyway. So we're starting tonight. The Indian is the whole topic that I just, like in a nutshell, covered, that we said we covered last time. In a tachlis hakavana b'brius v'esavus ha'olam, is the whole purpose of God's and His intentionality in the creation and bringing the worlds into existence. This is a mimer from a midrash that Hashem wants there to have a dwelling place in the lower worlds. People ask why, and the answer is given all the time. And don't ask any questions on a taiva. When a person has a taiva, that's the word, a desire. I don't know. That's why I just like it. So he wants to have. He has a taiva. That's the word to dwell in the lower worlds. He wants revelation of godliness to be in the worlds below. In the upper worlds, it's revealed. And, if you go beyond worlds, a place deeper than worlds, there's only godliness. But he wants godliness to be revealed in stuff. He wants there to be, in the words of the Rebbe, ayin, which is revealed in the yesh. Now, the Rebbe's expression, I'm a little bit paraphrasing, is that God creates something from nothing. In other words, from no thing, from no differentiation. He creates differentiation, something from nothing. And our job is to bring out the nothing in the something, in the world of particularization, to bring out the simplicity and oneness of God. And he wants that, simplicity and oneness of God to be revealed in multiplicity down here below. And how is that done? It's done through the work of the human being, particularly the Jewish human being, through the mitzvahs. We learned today in Tanya that the very first word of the Torah, Anoichi, is when he gives the Torah down here on earth. We spoke this, it wasn't said in Tanya, but we explained that, because it explained in other places, that the word Anoichi, meaning I, is an acronym for I have put my very self in the Torah. And the Torah means the mitzvahs, the things that I'm asking you to do, which is called avodas Hashem, the avodah of revealing Hashem in the mundane. Al yidei hiskafi v'hischapcha, and there are two forms of this. The mundane, we can have a connection to. We have to have a connection to it in order to do mitzvahs. All the mitzvahs, the large percent of the mitzvahs are done with physical objects. But we subjugate that's the first word, iskafia. We subjugate our attachment to those things per se. In other words, when we're eating chocolate cake, it isn't just because, or even mainly because we just have gusto for chocolate cake. It's because that joy, that pleasure that I have in eating the chocolate cake will be a pleasure that I can utilize for serving Hashem. So I'm iskafi, I'm subjugating my raw physical pleasure to a higher spiritual pleasure. And ishapcha is when I'm actually transforming it. I don't have any desire for it at all. I just know that this is, and forget chocolate cake not being the best example, but there's a godly highest in it, and I'm eating it for that sake only. So I've not transformed it from having anything to do with my sensual desires for it to my pure desire for the energy that will allow me to serve Hashem. It's a brief iskatvi v'hiskatcha. One is subjugation, the other is transformation. The neshama titled lamata, the neshama comes down here below. And again, please ask questions when you do have a question or a comment. So and Eliza, you're following the text, right? I believe you do follow the text.
I do.
Okay. So we're on the first page, about halfway down. The line begins with ha'odam. Got it?
Thank you.
Okay, and we're in there, after the second comma. The neshama titled lamata, the neshama descends down here below. Le'eslabish beguf and nefesh bahamis, to be enclosed in a body and an animal soul. Right, so the godly soul comes down, it's in a body, and it's interacting with, and it's enmeshed with the animal soul. Vehem yalimu umastiro, in this body and animal soul, they conceal, they hide the or haneshama, the light, of course, which is a metaphor, the light, the illumination, the energy of the godly soul. Right? The godly soul gets entangled with the animal soul, and there's two ways that entanglement can go. One is the animal soul can schlep it, or the other is that the godly soul will subjugate or transform it. But they're entangled, they're together, both down here below. Now, in this time that the godly soul is invested in a body, and the body is getting its highest from the animal soul, or the animating soul, that's where its life is coming from. So, the opportunity is here, and he's saying it as if it's always happening, that there can be, that the godly soul can affect a clarification and a cleaning and rectification of the body, so that ultimately the body isn't disdained. The body is transformed or subjugated initially and then transformed into itself becoming a servant. There's an expression in the Gemara that if you take a wild ox, and probably most of us have not seen a wild ox. We're not talking about a milk cow up in a farm in upstate New York, but a wild ox. And you take that wild ox, and when it's running by itself, it's having a wonderful time, right? That's the notion. It's a great pleasure to ride free. But if you harness that ox to a grist mill, so the expression is you get a lot of produce. Roiv tavur, you get a lot of produce, mekoyach shore, from the power of an ox. So if you harness the animal, not disdain it, not dislike it, not all the negative words. I'm saying this because there are shitas, particularly before the Baal Shem Tov, mostly, where the avodah was really to pain the animal's soul and do, pierce yourself and afflict yourself. Afflictions we're not about afflicting the animal's soul. We're about subjugating it in the face of Kedusha and ultimately transforming it, harnessing it and to the grist mill in order to produce, with the force of the animal, a greater revelation of God than exists with only the godly soul. The animal has a lot of power. Roiv koyach. There's a lot of power in the power of the ox. And in doing so if we take it that way, what we're about is birur v'zichur haguf v'nefesh habahamis, clarification, rectification of the body and the animal soul, and also rectification and clarification of the chelki ba'olam, our portion in the world. And this is what it means. The parsha in Shmos. God gives us a command to make to yourself a holy temple, a holy place, and says, and that holy place will be a place where shechanti b'seichon, my Shekhinah will be within it. In other words, revealed. When the holy temple existed, and we say this sholosh regalim, 3 times a year, we took our regalim, our little feet, and we walked up to Yerushalayim, where we were seen and we could see. We were seen by God and we could see Elokus. Godliness was revealed in the temple because the Shekhinah was openly there. And in addition, now comes the big drush, the big interpretation. It's plural. It doesn't say, make for me a holy temple and I will dwell within it. It says, make for me a holy temple and I will dwell within them. And Chazal, our sages, say, what's the them? The Shekhinah, the divine presence, is meant to, it does dwell, because nothing could exist without it, but it's there inside of us to be revealed the way it was in the holy temple, that the Shekhinah should be revealed within each within each and every one of us, and as we said earlier, and ultimately the light that shines from us, from the revelation of the Shekhinah within us, should light up the world. And that comes about through a service, a work, or an eved, right? The work that we're doing as servants to Hashem through the work of clarification, birurim. The 2 words were used before, subjugation and transformation. Ukamaimer, and as the saying goes, kad iskafia sitra achra istalak yikoru kuchabrichu b'kulu omen. This is a Zohar. When a person subjugates the negative side, the other side, the negative side, the side which is not holiness, when one does that, there flashes upward, there departs upward a light, the splendor, the glory of the Holy One, blessed be He, b'kulhu omen. So anytime that we utilize an object or a situation in a manner that the Torah prescribes it, deal with the object or the situation in the manner that the Torah prescribes. So what we're doing, that's called subjugation, because we could be dealing with that same situation in a very negative way, or that same object in a negative way, or that same person in a negative way, but we don't. We do it in a holy way. And when we do that, there's a flash of spiritual energy that's emitted throughout all the worlds. Because one of the things that that Chassidus, particularly the Rebbe, emphasized a lot, is mitzvah is lashon savta, to connect. And when we say that, it connects the lower worlds with the upper worlds. So every time we do a mitzvah, we are connecting God himself and the revelation of godliness with down here below. And that's what it says. Whenever you do that, right, the glory of Hashem goes out, in all worlds. So what does it mean in all worlds? Hakavana, the intention is, or on a level of light, where it says, in all worlds, the intention is on a level of light, the hu bekulhu olmen b'shava, which is equal in all worlds. That's the Or Ein Sof, the infinite light, which is present in everything, but obscured through the Tzimtzum as you get lower and lower and lower. But he wants a dwelling place in the lower world. He wants this place which appears at first glance, meaning thousands of years of history at first glance, to be a place of darkness, warfare, politics, you name it, right? Which are all forces of separation. But embedded here, as in everywhere, is the Or Ein Sof, the infinite light. And so when he says that this infinite light should be emerging and flashing in all worlds, the kavana is al madregas ha'or dahu bekulhu olmen shove. What is being revealed? That light which is everywhere, always the same in all worlds. It's more or less contracted, but it's the same light in all worlds. This is the light which we call the light which encompasses all worlds equally. I'm putting in the word equally. Which encompasses all worlds. Now he says equally. Which radiates, is embedded in, the shining light is embedded in every world equally. However, in some levels of world, it's more concealed. It's called, in the language that we're dealing with in Tanya lately, the ahava misuteres, the light, the love, which is hidden. It's always there, but it's in various states, thinner or thicker states of concealment. But that Or Ein Sof is always there, in all worlds equally. The Ben Oilimus, when it comes to worlds, when it comes to worlds, worlds have different levels. And we've pointed out many times that the word oilam, which is world, ayin vov lamet mem, if you take out the vov, is alem, which means concealment. So there's various levels of concealments, and that's how we get various levels of worlds, and there are different levels. The upper worlds are not comparable to the lower worlds in terms of revelation or concealment of godliness. The Ba'olim in the upper worlds, Mera or Begilit, the Or Ein Sof shines in a revealed way, particularly in the world of Atzilus. Creations and the emanated beings in Atzilus have a vivid perception of the Or Ein Sof. But as you go down to Bria, Yetzirah, and Asiya, and then the physical part of Asiya, the light which is there doesn't shine, is not revealed so much. And what's happening is the light, it comes in a manner of concealment and hiddenness. And there are several infinite number of levels of how much hiddenness and concealment there are. Moshe is written, that even my hand, with my hand, so yesoda, I make the foundation of the earth, v'yimini b'pachas shemayim, Focus, and with my right hand I form the heavens. The Yisha Midrash, Nota Yamini, he extended his right hand, Ubora Shemayim, and there he created the heavens. Now, why is it? The right hand is the hand of kindness, which means there's more revelations. And if you say, like even in English, it's a heavenly thing. You have a sense of the heaven in it, the sense of even if you don't call it godly, it's a heavenly experience, right? That's the more where the life force is more sensitive and sensitively revealed. So that's heaven. V'noto simole. Now, when you extend your left hand, the left hand is Gevura. Okay, Ubora Or. So he extended his right hand and created a heavenly experience. He extended his left hand and he created an earthly experience where things are down to earth as opposed to heavenly up above. V'yidua, and is known, the Yad Yamin Murder Allah Hor V'Helakiya Yoser. The right hand is the hand which shows more on the revelation of Hashem, of godliness. V'zevi meaning, pachas, I'm not sure to pronounce it, the facha, is the right hand is extended, and with that he creates the heaven, more rarefied, godliness is more revealed. The Shemayim, when he says heaven, it's a use of the word to indicate those worlds which are higher worlds, higher and lower here, meaning more godliness revealed or less godliness revealed. So the higher worlds. So Shemayim, the intention of Shemayim, he extends his right hand and creates the Shemayim. The intention is on the upper worlds, the worlds where Hashem is more, where godliness is more revealed, as he says, which there, Sham, Hagil B'chinas Yamin, which is the revelation of the right hand, Shehu Gili Ha'or, which is a revelation of light, right? You're bringing light to something. That's the engagement that you have in positive commandments. You're bringing an energy to the thing and utilizing that energy to grasp the thing, eat the thing, put on the thing, and that's a positive relationship with godliness. And when he exhibits his right hand, he exhibits his kindness, so it's more of a revelation of that light. But Eretz, and now when you get down to earth, Hakavana, that intentionality is Ordamis Havyatachtainim, that's the lower worlds. Came a Bechinas Smoil, which come from the left, where it seems that God is more retracted from it, because in the lower worlds there's less revelation. She'en or Regilikol Kach, the light is not so revealed. But Gama or Atzmai, not only is it a state of relative illumination or concealment, but the or itself, when the light itself is being more and more concealed. Godliness is more hidden because the or in sof is being more concealed. Yedua, as is known, the hefresh bedalit oilamis, the differences between the four worlds, Atzilus, Yisira, Bria, Yitzira, and Asira. To conceive, it's written, Kol hanikra b'shmi, anyone who calls my name, ulikvoide, parosov, yitzatov, afasisov. To call my name, meaning my name, which is the revelation, the name that you have is a revelation of something that's of your soul. Your soul has, if you're named Avraham, as I am, that's a particular manifestation of a particular kind of soul constitution, right? So, and this name, because Kol hanikra b'shmi, anyone who calls my name, which is the revelation of something from my soul, goes through various levels, and we have the four levels here. The Gvoidi Barosov Yitzartov Yasisov. Each one Barosov Yitzartov Yasisov. Gvoidi Barosov Yitzartov Yasisov. Shehem Dalet Oilam Isabiyah, which refers to the four worlds Atzilus, Bir, Yitzia, and Asiya. And Bezeh Ena Kemoy Shehu Ba'atzilus. So in one world, the light is not like, it doesn't have the quality of light that it has in Atzilus. The way it is in Atzilus is not the way it is in the lower worlds. Atzilus is Gilia Hela. In Atzilus, there is some concealment, but it's a concealment for the sake of a revelation. Like you want to look at something bright, you put your hand over your eye, right? Just to block it, but you're still looking at it. You're still seeing it. So it's a concealment, but it's a concealment that doesn't obviate, negate revelation. So the Atzilus is Bechinas Gilia Hela. It's a revelation that comes through concealment. Atzilus Miloshin Etzle B'Samech. Etzel. Etzel means connected with, next to. So you have the Or Ein Sof, and you have a creation, but we don't call it a creation, we call it an emanation, because the two are so close that the emanated has a consciousness and awareness, or in simple terms, a visibility into the infinite. The beginning of something finite still feels its infiniteness. That's Atzilus. Likewise, Pirush Atzilus is Miloshin Hatzola v'Hafrasha. Atzilus, not quite sure what this ayin is. The Atzilus, not sure. Okay, I'm not going to try to make it up. So Atzilus is Miloshin Hatzol. You know what it is? Atzilus?
No, I actually lost my place. Would you?
Oh no.
Yep.
4 lines down on page 112.
Thank you.
Atzilus is Miloshin Hatzola, right? Hatzola. You know what Hatzola is?
Help.
Huh?
Well, it's yeah.
Close. If it's Hatzola, it's something that comes out, it's separation, but at the same time, Hatzola is salvation. Someone's going to come, God forbid you need Hatzola, right? They're over there, but at the same time, they're designed to come close. The Atzilus, okay, I don't know what the Ayin Hey is, Bechinas Oilam. Oh, Im Hiyais. Yeah, that's what it is. Atzilus, even though it's in the level of world, right, which world, look at that word world, if you're looking, is the language of concealment. Aval, however, Biklalusa in general, Ubiklal Oilamis Ha'in Sof. Atzilus, though it's a world, is in the level of world which we call worlds without end, because it perceives the endlessness of Hashem. Masha'en came Bria, right, down a step, and that's where you get the Lashon Bria, creation, right? Bereshis Bora Elakim. That's really describing what starts in the world of Bria. And what's the characteristic of Bria? Shehu hascholas hamatzios bebechinas yesh me'ayin. That's the beginning of something which we call something tangible, which we could say, it's this. We know it came from there. Me'ayin is a yesh, from there, from the inexplicable, the ineffable, and all those fancy words. It comes from there, but we don't have a perception of where it came from. We see it as a something, even though we know that it came from the Ein Sof, the infinite. And this is V'kol hanikra b'shmi u'legvoide, right? We have now the two levels, my name and my glory. Shmi u'gvoide huma miyuchad bi adayin. So they're still, these two levels are still very united with him. Shekoi olam Atzilus, which refers to the world of Atzilus, Shehu olam hayichud v'hiskalalas, which is the world of unity and inclusion. In other words, where unity and oneness are tangibly part of how I experience things, and where inclusion, that all things are included in the oneness, is part of my daily experience if I'm hanging out in Atzilus. Sha'or atzmoy, because the or in announcements, yesh chilukim medreges, light goes. Did I skip a line? Yeah. Sha'or shom betachlis hagilik. There in Atzilus, the light is in a state of utter, complete revelation. And in Dema Klal, which is not the way things are in the lower worlds. In Biyah itself, there are different levels in the world of Biyah, Bria Yitzir Nasiya. And they refer to various levels in the Gili Oris, in the revelation of the light of the Ein Sof. As is written concerning the world of Bria, and then the lower worlds, of course, there's less and less awareness of the Ein Sof. But all of this degree of revelation or concealment, and this is an important point, is not in God himself, but in the emanation alone, in God himself, in the emanation. All of these gradations have to do with the light. And remember, when we're saying light, we mean the godly energy, the energetic of Hashem's emanation, is diffused out into reality in various levels. And that light comes to enliven the worlds, and that's what we call it fills all world. Mamali Kalaman is the grouping of the light of the Or Ein Sof as it goes, as it's experienced as being one level after another, more and more concealment. But when it comes to the light that's beyond having anything to do with the worlds, the Or Ein Sof, before it rises before you at a level where it hasn't yet risen up in God's mind to create, that Or Ein Sof that is higher than having any relationship to worlds. That's what we call Soivic Kalaman. So these terms you're going to see all through Chassidus, right? Mamali Kalaman, filling all worlds, and Soivic Kalaman. So here you have a definition. Soivic Kalaman, Soivic is around, right? And one of the things about a circle is there's no beginning, there's no end. You can't point to a beginning or an end. And another thing about a circle, it encompasses everything, top to bottom. If there's a structure here and it's encircled equally. So this is the notion of the Or Ein Sof, which is beyond differentiation. And when it comes into differentiation, ability to less or more, that's called Mamali Kalaman. There's more revelation in Atzilus than there is in Asiya. That's called Mamali Kalaman, how he fills all worlds. I'm elongating on this because this notion is, these languages used all through Chassidus, Soivic Kalaman and Mamali Kalaman. Shabo, so Soivic Kalaman, I hope you're getting, no one's raising their hands, so I'm assuming that this is clear as day. Okay, I hope. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay, so you have the Or Mamali Kalaman and Ora Soivic Kalaman. This light, as I said, the Soivic Kalaman is all-encompassing, and as it were, pictorially, it's surrounding everything equally. And in that light, that light radiates, shines in every world equally. But it's not tangible. Because for it to be tangible, there's something to be tangible, it has to have some shape, some form. This light has no form. It's any point on it is the same. The tangibility of things is tangibility and differentiability are sort of linked together. So Shabobi Soivi Umakif La'olam, as it surrounds our worlds, how Mer B'chola Olam is B'shava. The line begins the worlds equally. Olam is B'shava. And this is in every world, right? If this is top and bottom, this Or HaSoivev is everywhere the same, equally. Amnon, however, to draw this light into all worlds, hu al yedei ha'avoda. So this is the Or HaSoivev, right, which encompasses all worlds. We're a partner with Hashem. Remember, mitzvah is a language safta here. We're connected with him. He's made it this way, that he started this off, but its continuation, according to the way he wants it and designed it, is that we are responsible for bringing the fruition and the continuation and the fruition of what he wanted and what he wants through our avodah. And this is called avodas habirurim, the clarification or rectification, the realignment of things which have fallen into negativity into their holy source of unity and utter simplicity. That's what we call avodas habirurim. And this is the twofold avodah of subjugation. I'm going to not get into it purely for its own sake, but for the fact that it gives me energy to serve God, or transformation, that I no longer even look at it as anything that's apart from God.
I'm sorry. I have a question. You said Soviv Kolomin is the world of, is it you said the world of Berea?
No. Okay, good. I'm glad you asked that.
No, I know. What did you just say? Something about Berea or Galula?
Wait a minute. When?
Just before Escafia and Asapka. Before you went into...
No. Okay, before that, here's what I said. In order to, I'm just reading English. In order to draw down this light, which is the Or HaSoivet, the all-encompassing light, into all worlds equally, right? Because Soviet doesn't know any differentiation, right? In order to draw that light down, it's through the avoida of birurim, of rectifications.
Oh, and yeah, sure. Like to extract.
Right, to extract, clarify, extract. Clarify, extract the negative and reveal only the positive. Use them out for godliness. And in a twofold manner of clarification, or what you call extraction, which is subjugation first and then transformation. That's as far as we've gone. Is that okay?
Absolutely, yeah, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
Good, okay. And this is what it says in Zohar. When a person subjugates the negative, which means that he has or she affects in his or her service to subjugate the negative. That, and again, the negative is anything that's not associated with what Hashem wants. It's not. It's on the side opposite kedusha, which we call the other side. So when a person affects in his or her avodah to subjugate from the other side and to transform to transform darkness into light. So this creates, and this is really the punchline here, and they started to say that there was this light was all revealed at the beginning, and it was darkened, right, by the Eitz Hadas. Then it was revealed. 7 Tzaddikim came and brought it until you have Moshe, and it was revealed again on Har Sinai. But the major, a major Kiddush, new thing that the Frierdiker bring to the table, each of those points of revelation is not the same. There's an advantage of the light that comes out of the struggle. So they were from Egypt to Mount Sinai, right? This is the part. There's our book. We're reading Shmos, from the troublesome and the entanglement and the difficulties and the pain. We come to Matan Torah, right? So that's a higher level of light than the light which existed in the first place, which was just given to Adam and Chava. It didn't come through any struggle. It was just given to them. And this is the way the history unfolds. And this is something that I don't know if the Frierdiker Rebbe, of all the Rebbeim, of all of the Chabad Rebbeim, I don't say that he's the one who's mechadish this, but this kind of talk, you won't really find this kind of talk in other places. The notion that the final redemption is going to be an effusion of light which is greater than any light that ever existed before. So that's the notion of the light, the advantage of light which comes from darkness. Now, Eliezer, the line begins with Hine. Hine, Yisin or hu me'achoshek dafka.
Yeah.
The advantage, there's an advantage of light which comes specifically from darkness.
Is that because only we are able to see that much darkness because we're in this world? It's like a low. Like,
It's because darkness demands that you use more force. If you're going to get out of a prison, right, you're going to have to be very clever. And that cleverness would never, ever have come out had you not been in prison. It's going to force you. It's a very cute, cute is not probably the right word. Cute because it's very profound. And the Rebbe's, and I'm not sure that our Rebbe innovated this himself, but that's where I've seen it, the following, that the word nisuyin, which is trouble, test, nisuyin, is the same letters as the word nes, miracle. That through nisiyones, and specifically, by the way, this is also yesterday's Tanya. Yesterday and the day before, the Alter Rebbe in Tanya is giving us instructions for how to become a Beinoni. And so he wants us to see reality in a certain way so that we can understand the potential that whatever the reality is that we have, the potential it has for the opportunity that it presents for building up more revelation of godliness. And he says the first one that he mentions is nisyonis, that a person has a nisoyin. We say this in every trouble is an opportunity. Every problem is an opportunity. And that's the notion of here, that from darkness comes light. That's how you take that there's an advantage of light which comes from darkness. Yisun ha'or me'achoshek tafka. The advantage of light and the more advanced and deeper light comes from darkness. It has, we've spoken about this, I don't know if in this class, but in other classes about dark matter. This is an analogy from physics. Dark matter in outer space is believed to contain huge amounts of energy, which as it exploded would just be greater than anything has seen before. And there's also, when you compress something, like take a rubber ball, right? Well, no, let's take a mushal that's brought often in Chassidus, a slingshot, right? In order to propel that ball, you're going to bring it back. You're going to create a tension. And when that tension is released, the payload goes much higher, much farther than had that tension not existed in the first place. These are all mashalim for the advantage of light which comes from darkness.
But so that I think that what I was trying to say before is that the only way we can get the highest light would be in this world of Asiya, because we're the only world that can see such darkness.
Excellent. That's exactly right. Because it's the darkest world, it's the world with the most positive potential.
And I guess that would be, and it would you say this is true, that in the end it's going to be that, well, if Hashem wants to have a dwelling place and ultimately this be the place of
right, exactly. You got it.
It would be even a more revelation here, and I mean,
yes.
It's coming soon. Then even in Atzilus.
Yes.
So how are the worlds going to change when this happens?
How are the worlds? What? I missed you.
What the world's going to be like when we literally are having revelations of Hashem in this world that are higher than Atzilus? Like, how are we going to be in relation to Atzilus and Berea?
You're saying, well, the reason, and this is also discussed, the reason why you're asking the question, because this is a thing and its opposite, right? In other words, we started this conversation tonight, the Frierdiker Rebbe did. The light of Atzilus is a light where you could see godliness itself. And down here is more and more coverings, right? But when those coverings are torn away, subjugated, transformed, the light will be greater than the light in Atzilus. Do I have a sense of what that's like? No. No. But I get it. I get how it can be. That's the mushal of the nisuyin or the tension, the catapult. The Romans invented the catapult. That's how they took Jerusalem. They sieged it, and then they just catapulted stuff into it. And
Right. Or is it going to be that Tzilis is just going to be greater also than
no, that's not the way. I mean, I
No.
can't. Can I say this with certainty? But the Chassidus that I know says no. Atzilus will be small change compared to, because Atzilus, remember, is a concealment, but even a thin concealment. It's a
Right.
concealment. When this happens, we explode beyond that, and that's intrinsically not. I don't think it's possible. Maybe someone else can contradict me to describe that experience. Because I'll tell you why. Because in the mimer that we're learning this year, Bosi L'gani, which is explaining a later chapter, he describes this idea that the light, that this is what we're calling the light from darkness. The light from darkness is such a light that's never ever been present in any world. It's higher than even the world of Atzilus, and this is very hard to grasp, because if you go higher than Atzilus, generally there's nothing besides him. So how there can be, this is the paradox of redemption, that at one and the same time there will be discrete things, and at the same time there will be the perception of everything being God. That's a thing in its opposite, the paradox. So no, I don't have any experience with that. I can't describe it other than what I've said. It's a paradox.
May I share something?
Of course.
So, my husband and I were learning. We go through a sefer from Rav Levi Yitzchak of Berdichev, and who was certainly also a student of
Yes.
and a contemporary of the Balatanya.
He was a Mechuden. You know that, right?
Yes, they were
Right.
Malakanim, and they
Right.
were contemporary students. And so what's interesting is to hear like the same teaching, but through a different style. But it's
Go
the
ahead.
same teaching. So what my husband and I were literally just learning this last Shabbos was the same concept, that the tikkun for the Chet of the Eitz Hadas was not able to be done even by the Avos. That when they had the mitzvah of a bris milah, it wasn't the complete bris milah that's done today. It was
Right.
one of the steps. And it was not until after being in the midbar that Yoshua, at that point taking over from Moshe, was able to lead the Yidden in having the final step of the bris milah. And literally the word corona, it's that what we use for the sun, the light,
Yeah.
that it was able to then be revealed. And so what came from this darkness, and Mitzrayim is known as the place of deep darkness, was able to come forth. The Jewish nation have this, I don't know, I personally find it, call me female, but I find it gross to think of this hill or mountain of orlas, but just think, it was able, we were finally able in a state under Yoshua to have the tikkun from the Eitz Hadas and reveal the light that
Right.
until that time period could not be revealed. And that at every generation, there's a different ability to reveal the light based upon the darkness we're coming from. So on the one hand, no, I don't think we can picture what that true revelation is going to be, but we have already experienced different
Right.
levels then of that.
Okay, that's good. Good. Okay, thank you.
Rabbi Mamek, one comment on that. This is John.
Yes, of course.
Lost voice in the wilderness. That was a great comment about the Orla being a tikkun for the Etz Hadas. I heard something else a long time ago, and I heard when Hashem forbid Adam and Eve from eating from the Etz Hadas, the knowledge of good and evil. What is the Torah also known as when Hashem gave us the Torah? Etz Chaim
That's Chaim. Yeah.
So I don't think that's a coincidence that Hashem prohibited us from eating from the tree of life after the Avera the Etz Hadas, and then Hashem gives to Bnei Israel, and that follows long after the Orla also to Bnei Israel Etz Chaim Hiba.
Right.
He gives us the tree of life in the Torah.
Yeah.
So although he's prohibited to Hava and Adam, there's a tikkun along. He gives it to us later when he gives us the Torah. That was just a parenthetical.
Yeah. Good. V'hainu, middle of the line. The ka'asher hachoshek nepach le'or, when the darkness is transformed to light. Hine nasa yisur na'or, then the light becomes lighter. Now, a simplistic way of looking at this is if the sun is shining outside, right, and you cover your eyes completely, and with something totally opaque, what happens to your pupils? Do you know? When you walk into
They
they
get
dilate.
bigger.
They dilate, right. And then if you were to suddenly take away that covering, the light would be way more intense because of the pupils having dilated. And that's a mushal. It's a mushal I made up. I don't know. It worked for me.
It's a good one.
Yeah. Okay. But that's a mushal experience of that. She'or moya begillah. And when that happens, the light will shine in a completely revealed way. Until to such extent the or ein sof, which is lamai lamai ad en ke, it's above and beyond all end, will be revealed down here in the low of the low, with an intensity greater than it was before. The light will be drawn down in such a manner that its drawing down will be in a manner that it will be experienced in every world equally. In other words, the Or HaSoivev, which is hidden, will become revealed. The light which is everywhere equal, right, but not revealed, will become revealed. V'zeho, and this is what it says, the Zohar, back to our Zohar, when a person subjugates the negativity, let's talk about the negativity not as sinning, but a pain, a suffering, a problem. It's a negative, right? And you take that problem and you, as I said earlier, turn it into an opportunity, then you've got a better solution, a solution that comes out of dealing with a difficulty than you had in the first place. And that's an analogy for when you come out of the darkness, there will shine a greater light in all the worlds than ever had shone before. A light which is bechinas ha'or, a level of light, shenimshach or hasoivev, the light of the transcendent light, will be drawn down into kol olmin, into all worlds, that it will be revealed in every world equally. So Atzilus and Bria will have the same revelation, and Atzilus would be a revelation of that which is higher than any world. Higher. Remember, Olam Miloshin Elam. A world is from the language of concealment. All the concealments will be burst apart. And I say what's a paradox is that the allness will be tangible, and it will be tangible in the world of multiplicity. Or another way of expressing this paradox, unity will be tangibly expressed in multiplicity. Okay, that's the state. That's the state that he's after. That's called Geula, right? Hashem wants a dwelling place in the lower world. Now, this is the Ois which is explaining this. What's it mean that he wants a dwelling place? He always dwells in the lower world, right? There can't be anything without him. But his presence as an infinite light is concealed. So imagine that in this light down in this lower world specifically, in the lowest of the low, in the darkest of the darkest, the hidings, the things that cover the eyes will be taken away, and we'll be aware of our individuality, and at the same time aware of our allness with everything else. So that will be revealed. Okay, Mayor, I'm 4 lines up before the kids are. There will shine God. That will shine, but down below, as we said up above. Now back to the expression from Chumash Shmos. Make for me a holy place. I'm going to make a place. I'm going to make an edifice, which is this edifice. It's not that edifice. Two separate things, and in both of them will reveal the Ora Soive, the non-differentiation within the differentiation. And admittedly, these are paradoxical terms, but that's the state of Geula. That's what it means. Make for me a place, and my Shekhinah will dwell in them. Each and every individual will experience the oneness. See, we're taking it a little bit differently. First, it was, make for me a holy place, and my Shekhinah will dwell within them. Okay, and we take that sort of as an avoda, that each and every one of us should allow the godly presence to be fulfilled and expressed within each and every one of us. But here we're saying something in addition to that, that when that happens, each and every one of us will experience how we were all really one, experientially. I mean, we may know that now, but we'll see it. Okay, so there will shine down here below as it is above. And this is what it means. Make for me a holy place, and my Shekhinah will dwell within the plurality. My singularity will be openly revealed in the plurality. Within each and every individual. Through the avoida of Iskafia v'Hishapkat, subjugation and transformation of Hashoichel in the heart of darkness into light, making every problem an opportunity. I mean, this is just my way of expressing it. You can have your own way. Any darkness will breaking it apart, taking the blinders off the expanded pupils, whatever works for you, and seeing the allness in the differentiatedness. And this breaking open the darkness, right, subjugating it and ultimately transforming this results in a yisur na'or, a more effusion of light. The mistalik, and we come back to the worlds, there will be a rising up. And the stalik, like we use this by a tzaddik, right? The stalkus of a tzaddik. We don't call it a patira. By an average person, we call it a patira. By a tzaddik, it's a histalkus. Because a light, we probably learned, or maybe have learned, that part of Tanya, where he brings a Zohar that says that the tzaddik is more alive in the next world when he departs. When he departs, he's more alive in this world than he was when he was alive. Because when he was alive, he was contained in a body, and now that infinite light spreads out because it's not confined by the body. So that's the notion of there will flash upward and bounded, without boundedness, the splendor of the Holy One, blessed be He, in all worlds. Shemer u'misgala or hasoivev, there will be a revelation of the transcendent light in the immanent. We're going to stop there. Now, next week will be past Yud Shvat, but we're going to go on. We have one more page for this mimer. So we're going to...
Same bat time, same bat station?
What's that?
Same bat time,
same bat time, same bat station. Exactly. Emir Hashem. But before I do sign off, is there anything hanging or anything anybody wants to express before we go? I mean, this Shabbos, is it Shabbos Yud Shvat? Where are we today? I get confused. What's the date today? The 4th? Or tomorrow's the 4th? Come on, help me. What's the date in Hebrew?
I think today's, let me look at my calendar. 1 second.
Anyway, Yud Shvat is being said. Okay.
I think Shvat is Shabbos.
6.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yud Shvat is Shabbos, which is pretty neat in itself. Shabbos is a big elevation. But all the point I want to make is, next time we'll do the Kitzur, which will sum up nicely everything we said before, and God willing, we'll try. Will we finish the mimer? We'll see. But we'll continue. I think it's good to get a whole mimer, not just be bounded by the time. Okay.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye.
Thank you, Rabbi. Thank you.
Take care.